So this second part of the graphic, I kept separate from the first part because I felt like the first part of the graphic is great because you can see the different groups that you're going to be targeting through using RTI strategies. And it's good for background information, but I sort of feel like until you see some of the examples that I'm going to give you later on in this presentation, you may not 100% grasp all of that information. So, allowing yourself to sort of process in between, I feel like is beneficial. Plus, I wanted to follow up with why. Why am I so into RTI? Why do I love tiers? Why do I love putting my students in groups, leveled groups, right? And that's normally not something that people would want to do, but I put them in leveled groups and I give them specific personalized tasks, and then I see results from all of the groups. So I see growth where I wasn't seeing growth when I wasn't doing this. And then now, I see these results. So the research is there that supports using tiered grouping to promote skills for 21st century learners. And I don't like to call them 21st century learners because that's temporary and we just keep changing it. And so we could just keep saying all century learners was something that I try to switch that script a little bit to all century learners, because it doesn't matter what century you're in, there are certain skills that are just translatable to so many contexts. And so some of those 21st century skills or all century skills that are looked for in college readiness, they're looked for like workplace readiness, and they are the 4 C's. So that's communication, collaboration, creativity, and critical thinking. And so you have those 4 C's. Students need to be globally aware. I put literacy in all caps because it's all types of literacy. So it's digital literacy, it's disciplinary literacy, it's just pencil paper literacy, it's reading strategies, it's following directions. So a lot of those things kind of fall under the umbrella of literacy. RTI can help with those skills as well. Teaching students about responsibility, teaching students about wellness and learning how to learn, teaching students leadership skills, ethics, accountability, throwing in some authentic learning into what you're doing for the response to intervention. Those are all some of the skills that employers are looking for, really. It's not even just college readiness. I'm thinking of just any employer in any career, any boss is going to need to have employees and want to have employees that have these skills. So not only can your students practice content, but they're also getting much more out of it. So the benefits specifically for the students is that all students access what they need. You don't have students that are bored necessarily on a topic because they are being extended. Those are the kids you could give like the brain teasers, the puzzles, the really hard questions from the textbook, those kinds of things that the students can work on and try to problem solve together. Students can be engaged with their own learning. They start to see their own progress. They start to see, oh, I was in this certain group last time. Oh, now I'm in this certain group this time. Last time I saw my friend doing something cool over there. And then this time now I get to do it. So depending on the topic, the groups can be very fluid. And then the students are a little bit more aware of what they know and what they don't know. This has been also beneficial for English language learners. So the research says that ELLs, when they take an opportunity with their peers for language input and language output, that in groups, they are more likely to be successful in an English language learner setting. So they're learning English better. All century skills, again, showing growth mindset. It goes with sort of students engaged in their own learning. You can emphasize mastery over performance with this. Students have a more realistic view of personal progress. They surprise you and they surprise themselves. So I think that's a benefit because I think students think they know what learning's all about or what school's all about, and you can kind of show them something different, and then they are a little bit more invested and motivated to just do what you're asking because they have seen, oh, I think that, this teacher knows what I need because this teacher's an expert. So I'm not just a number, I'm a person and I need individual personalized learning tasks. And then teachers, I feel like personalizing the learning obviously puts the benefits back in for the students. Collaborating with your colleagues is really important. So doing that can kind of strengthen this program that you want to start using some tiered things. You can start looking at, okay, what are people doing for like my higher level subject students? What are teachers doing to meet the needs of a lower level student? And then you can kind of collaborate and get ideas, because creativity breeds creativity. It's really flexible. You don't necessarily have to just how to do this all the time. It's not something that, if you're not comfortable with your students learning new material in tiered groups, then don't do that. I would even say just don't even do this at all. I would say keep this in the back of your mind and look for opportunities to implement, a couple opportunities. You could do it for a review, test review day. You can just have leveled worksheets or leveled packets or leveled tasks for these students to be doing when they're just reviewing for a test tomorrow. You can have 2 tiers instead of 3 tiers. That cuts your planning and your materials needs down a little bit. And then you can use some of those projects, those things that are cluttering up your flash drive, some things that you're thinking like, oh, I don't have time for that. I am going to do that after the standardized tests. I'll just save that for another class, whatever. Those are the activities you can use for tier 1, and you can modify them so tier 2 can get in on it as well. I feel like you use class time more productively, because instead of having the whole class, let's say day 1, you have the whole class doing like basic review, because you need to get those tier 3 kids like up to the tier 2 level. And then the next day you're doing tier 2 stuff. And then the third day you're doing tier 1 stuff, and then you hope that all is good for the test the next day. So this is a way to you could do this in one class. You can give the students what they need in one class or 2 classes rather than spreading it out. So it is more time on your end, but it saves class time in the long run. It increases opportunities to provide to improve literacy for all students, rigor, engagement, and then I feel like it's a more holistic approach to students learning, and then the standardized test results and the student achievement go up. The research is there to show that the achievement will be there if you can approach some of your learning this way.